It's good, y'all. It's a Sleepwalker Radio. I'm here with Lee, man. We're here for a very special edition of the show.
Yeah, this is like a end. What are we calling this? Like an end of year list.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna call it the Fresh People list. This is something that has been going on since like the infancies of Sleepwalker. Like 2019 was the first freshman list. We were calling it a freshman list.
But
It was like XXL had their freshman list. And it'd be 10 rappers. And then at that point in 2019, we started putting out our own list of 7 rappers, 7 producers, and 7 videographers that were, you know, actively shaping the game, changing the game, or impacting the game. And either they were doing it in that moment or we believe that they were going to do it like by the end of the year. Normally put this list out like in the summer, about halfway through the year, but life and shit.
yeah, I like the change of pace.
Yeah, exactly. So we're gonna just put it in at the end of the year, and the criteria is gonna be a little different. We're instead of looking at it as like this person's gonna take over 2023, since it's pretty much over, we're gonna be looking back and saying these people kind of made the biggest impact, specifically in the underground. And are kind of poised to really either hit fully mainstream by next year if they aren't already, or just continue to take over. For rappers, we got Certified Trapper, Sexyy Red.
Yeah, had to.
Yeah, had to. KPSkywalka,
DC
Vayda,
Zone.
Niontay, and Xaviersobased, and Glock 40 Spaz. All right, so those are all the rappers. So I'll start off with Certified. Certified Trapper. It's from Milwaukee and is really like a pioneer of the low-end sound and brought national attention, underground and mainstream, to the Milwaukee hip-hop scene. He's been around since like 2014, dropping tracks under a bunch of different names: Foreign Day, Certifit. He was part of a group called Certified Trap Niggas, and he was CTN #1 for a minute, but he eventually turned to Certified Trapper around 2020, 2021, which is when he started making the signature low-end music. His most like notable quality is just the crazy work ethic that he has. It's comparable to like RX Pappy or a Nephew, where he's just dropping pretty much every day, multiple times a day sometimes. And then it honestly is even more impressive when you realize that he's making all of his beats, he's shooting all of his videos and editing them. Recently got signed to Columbia, I want to say, or like a sub-label of Columbia, and called Signal Records. He really only works consistently with this dude, Donnie Ying, since the beginning. I think I just like grew up together. And other Milwaukee artists like Dasher, Wild Ken, Super Throw Dave, and of course AO Lee more recently. And he's also started getting more mainstream work with Babytron and BLP Kosher as well.
It's kind of crazy when an artist can be that consistent while also like never, especially in this day and age, to like not have features that are like pretty popular. You know what I mean? Just to stick gang is kind of like, I don't know, that's not many people are doing that.
Yeah. 4 songs that you should check out by Certified Trapper that came out in the last year to get more familiar with his music. I recommend is Each Smack, Slipped Up, Peru, and What You Do to Me. That came out in 2022, but that's just one of my favorite songs.
All right, next we got the legend. I feel like the GOAT of 2023.
Yeah.
Sexyy Red.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, she quickly escaped the underground sort of tag really quickly, I feel like.
Yeah, she was barely underground to begin with. I mean, she had by far the biggest glow up, or biggest year.
Yeah.
23. Put all the major cosigns that she's gotten in the past, honestly, like 6-7 months, from Drake, Tyler the Creator, Nicki Minaj, even the WWE. I saw this clip that went viral on Instagram of like everyone, a SmackDown event, just yelling "Ski Yee."
Look at them vibing with main event Jay Uso. Oh my God. Ski.
That is the catchiest thing. Like ski, bruh. I'd like say that in my sleep.
she's got hella catchy ad libs and
Yeah.
verses and hooks and all that. It's really, you could really just walk around the entire day just low key quoting Sexy Red verses and
No,
not.
you definitely could.
But yeah, put all those cosigns to the side. Like, she dropped probably one of the best albums of the year, Hood's Hottest Princess. Like, objectively speaking, when you look at just the beats were insane. Her structure of the songs were also like she's kind of off her future shit where like everything she's making is just super catchy, and it's like the first time you're listening to it you feel like you know all the words already because it's just like it's honestly like structured and laid out very very great for that type of stuff for the type of music she's making too. The way she blew up is definitely raises alarms of like industry plant
Yeah,
because
I was about that.
there's like no one really heard about her coming into 2023, and then all of a sudden, not even like maybe like halfway through the year, like she was kind of number one. Like she was really on top. If you look even further, because I did a little bit more research just on her, she actually signed a distro deal with this label that just launched this year called Gamma Records, and they're indie. I forgot the name of the dude who founded it, but he was like an executive for Apple. He left them last year and launched this record label called Gamma Records, and he had $1 billion endowment, so it technically is an indie label, but it's built like a major label because it has $1 billion to.
Where'd they get that endowment from?
The dude.
Oh,
It's probably related to Apple Music, probably like Universal.
yeah.
There has to be a few different like people that are giving him this bread, but I think that kind of explains why no one had really heard about her, and then out of nowhere, like her album is everywhere because they were able to spread it out to everybody. But the album had to be good for it to maintain its kind of impact. All that being said, even though she has like a great team behind her, she definitely is like from St. Louis, like from the trenches of St. Louis, like was doing hair, rapping occasionally on and off before blowing up for real. Like if you look back in her music on her YouTube, her Instagram, or maybe not her Instagram, but you go on her YouTube, there are videos of her rapping on like TK beats in 2018, like remixed to TK songs. So it's like she's been around for a little bit and is tapped in and is like a real person. And she just kind of met the right people, made the right music at the right time, and blew up. So shout out Sexy Red.
Yeah, big shout out Sexy Red. I feel like she's also disrespected by like, I don't know. Well, whenever you like rise so fast, people are always like looking for something to like shit on with her.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? That like it's like old heads on Twitter being like, I don't know, women rapping like this is just like you know what I mean? It's like, like y'all rap like this in these past generations as well. I don't know. I feel like there's like a lot of like female hate on her specifically, just because how like not even over sexualized, just like her content in general. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I feel like people will see or hear her music and kind of think like they can approach her just kind of wild for real. I've been like watching interviews with her. I would say kind of like what you're saying. She's probably one of the most disrespected artists when it comes to interviews because people just ask her anything, whether it's like sex related or about like past traumas she had, and dudes would be like, "How many shootouts have you been in?" Like recount every detail of the shootout. It's like, damn, like you're not really asking dudes that question.
No, literally. Like every interview with her is like an Adam 22 interview. You know what I mean?
Literally, regardless of who it is. Especially because she's a large artist. We doing interviews and like everybody's kind of like, "Yo, let me smash it." Basically,
no, literally.
Like, would you let me smash?
Yeah.
We're all asking.
I'm dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. What were your favorite 4 songs of hers?
Yeah, so it's 4 songs that I picked that I feel like would let you kind of get to know her better. Aside from like the big major songs that are already out, I picked Nachos, which is off the Hood's Hottest Princess, which is one of my favorite tracks. Beats crazy. FYM or Fuck Yo Man. That's
man.
Yeah, that's a remix to the legendary bass god Lil B track. Then Don't Get Beat, that's an older song, as well as Sexy, which is another older song, like 2019, 2020 vibes. I think that would just kind of help you get more familiar with her and what she's about. Next person on our list is KPSkywalka. He's from DC, Southeast, the K, or MLK Boulevard. The K, as some people call it, around there. He started dropping music relatively recently. He started dropping music in 2022. He got a lot of attention at the beginning of the year. When he started rapping over like old soul beats that were remixed and kind of put like a DMV type beat over it that he would rap over. He has like a really interesting voice. It's like twangy and high pitched, kind of almost whiny. But he's really rapping and like talking that shit in the Southeast DC flow, which is just like, I feel like niggas from Southeast just like rap very differently. And it's like very unorthodox.
What way?
I would say it's similar to Baby 50, kind of, where it's like he creates his own flow over like the beat. So like the beat will be going and then he has like a completely different like beat in his flow, but they somehow like are able to overlap at the same time.
Yeah. Well, they mesh really well together, even though they're like,
yeah, exactly. So like if you just listen to his vocal tracks, you're gonna be bobbing your head like very differently to if you just listen to the beat. When you put them together, you're gonna be like, oh wait, this shit crank. So he got a lot of attention for that flow going over like the old soul samples. But I personally am a big fan of just, I feel like he's at his best when he's rapping over like the ambient alternative like DMV or DC / PG County like trap beats. Like his Can't Get Right and Getting Right EPs. Those are probably my favorite ones he's dropped. He's dropped 5 projects this year, as well as 30 plus music videos, and has been getting cosigns from across DC and PG, working with rappers like Baby 50, Migo Lee, Lil Dude, Slime Goon 9, Zanman, Chicho, Sparking. The list really goes on. And if you're like unfamiliar with the DC music scene, it's a very I would say it's just kind of plagued with unnecessary rap beefs, and there are a lot of artists that won't work with each other if they're from a certain block or a certain area in the city. And KP is kind of one of the first artists to work with an artist from every quadrant of DC, as well as like multiple neighborhoods in PG County in like 6-7 months. And that normally would take like 3-4 years if it happened at all. As like a DC artist. So just for him to be working with all these different types of people in such a quick pace is really, it's really nice and refreshing, and setting like a good precedent for like future artists to be like, you know what, fuck all the rap beef shit. Like, let's just make music together because we're all good artists, and that will hopefully help create more of a foundation for the DC music scene. So shout out KP.
Big shout out KP. What are 4 of your favorite songs from him?
For my favorite songs this past year, I'm gonna go In the Mix. It's probably one of his biggest songs. Check it out. Chinaman. Shout out Chicho. Shout out Cody Grace. A lot of Racks. And Bull Bull. Also, this is the bonus one. I just really like this song. Got a 9 Now. Probably like a classic KPSkywalka song that came out 2022.
Yeah, we had the pleasure of talking to this artist this year as well. We got Vayda next.
Hey, shout out
Vayda. Born and raised in East Atlanta, like grew up playing the piano and was in band growing up. And she sort of like got into making beats like around like 2016 and putting music out under like different names like Venus and Sensei V.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and she started rapping over her beats in like 2020, but really didn't like start consistently putting out stuff until like 2022-ish, right?
Yeah, I would say probably around then.
Yeah.
Really like took it serious.
Yeah, taking it serious.
Rapping.
Yeah. And she's just another one-woman band, sort of similar to Sexyy Red, where she
certified too.
Yeah, so where she definitely started as a producer, but also when she came into sort of the art form of like rapping, she kind of excelled in that as well. And sort of like when people first started hearing her rap, they had to double back and be like, oh wait, you produced this? And that's sort of like how I like first like got her in like SoundCloud. I think her music is a nice mix of like cloudy / ambient trap beats that incorporate sort of like Jersey club or like drum and bass and traditional like sample heavy boom bap, beats that she'll just
she got
like
a very diverse discography, man.
yeah, just like a very nice flow and can switch that flow up like very effortlessly.
I also feel like people are looking at Vayda right now in like the underground, mainstream, whatever, the same way people were looking at Baby Sosa in 2020, where like she doesn't have like 100,000 or like 1 million followers on Instagram. She doesn't have like millions of views on YouTube, but it seems like everyone who's in the know or like important in the industry like is very hip to her and is like paying attention to her, kind of the same way they were with Baby Sosa, because even now she doesn't have like I'm talking about Baby Sosa, she doesn't have like the hugest following or like running it up on streams, but it seems like she's like very much like popping amongst like the fashion niggas or like the like opiumed out like Cardi crew. Like I feel like she's very much a part of all that type of stuff.
And I feel like it's also a progressional sort of like run too. It's not sort of similar to Sexyy Red where it's like all at once, but it's sort of like she's been working for a while. And slowly with each month, you see like the interviews she gets with like bigger and bigger platforms and bigger platforms like writing about her. Like the Grammys, like writing about her this year. That shit was crazy. But I think there's more and more eyes on her that are sort of like slowly sort of like making her into like someone that's just definitely gonna pop in 2024 and just have like more eyes on her, which is just seems to be inevitable with like the quality of work she puts out.
Yeah, 100%, man. Shout out No Gum Hundo as well. We kind of locked in with her pretty early. I'm pretty sure that's how I got hip to her. A few of us got hip to her, especially in the underground, like that initial burst of support. One of the waves of support I think came from Hundo. Another person we interviewed, and who's works with Vayda pretty consistently, as well as produced the wave. 4 songs from this last year you should check out is Bingo, of course, probably your most viral song right now, produced by Produce the Wave, Tweaker, 369, Magnum Opus, and Ice Cream Cake.
All right, this next artist, this is also just a sidebar, just to preface this artist as well. This has been a big year for 10K in New York.
For sure.
I feel like a lot of their artists like deserve to like be on this list, but I've also been slowly in years prior sort of like making huge like strides. You know what I mean? In terms of just like people getting like familiar with them. But this next artist is Niontay from 10K. Originally from Milwaukee, but later moved to Florida. Surprisingly, a Celtics fan. I was listening to his interview, and his dad played with, I want to say, Sam Cassell and Kevin Garnett.
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah, which is tough. And he surprisingly held on to sort of Celtic pride, which is, damn, you hate to see that, but it's all good. Originally, like before his like music career started, he moved to New York in 2019 for some modeling shit or some modeling gigs in general, and just sort of dibble dabbled in music and sort of created this first EP alongside Jersey producer Seek.
Shout out Seek.
Yeah, big shout out Seek. We'll later talk about. That tape was a very sample heavy tape, but also very smooth. And you could tell on that tape that this was like a rapper's rapper. And that's a quote from Seek as well. But also similarly to like a lot of the people who might be on who are going to be on this list, they're also very capable producers as well. So in his like debut album, Dante's Inferno, which had a lot of people had a ton of songs on their end of the year list from that album.
Yeah, that's crazy. That was his first like actual project.
Yeah, he's produced 6 of the 9 songs on that album, and sort of had a ton of writer's block while writing that album. but sort of revisited these beats and sort of, while not super confident in those beats initially, sort of over time, just revisiting them, sort of going in the booth and punching in. I think he was able to just be like, oh shit, these are kind of hard, and just sort of laid it all out afterwards. And I think that's like one of my favorite. If I'm in a car with the homies and they're asking me to play an album, that's sort of like the album that I'm picking, if that makes sense.
That's fair.
Yeah.
It's a solid one.
And I think
got a bunch of like different types of songs on there too.
Yeah, exactly. But I think Thank Allah, I think, was the biggest hit. Gave people the biggest reason, like, oh shit, this guy should sort of like be on lists at the end of the year, like especially with like the that he dropped as well. Just like the work that's put in with like the help of like that 10K sort of all his like collaborators, and like that's who he says is like most of his influences are, just like the team around him, which is like Sideshow, Mike, Earl for some parts, also like making music with 454. Sorry. Yeah, I always get that
El
number.
Custo, shout out El Custo, DC.
Yeah, exactly. Shout out El Custo. But yeah, he's had a huge year, bro.
Yeah. No, I'm excited to see where he goes on for like the rest of or the next year, 2024.
Yeah.
If you got any recommendations or songs people should check out?
So yeah, I fucked with Thank Allah a ton. I thought that was like a great single from this. That was like a great single from that album. I don't even know if was it a single or was it just like one of the
I
most
think it's
popular
just on the album, but he dropped the video for it too.
Yeah. I liked Ain't Shit a lot. Blitzberg was really good. The City of 100 Plays, that one was tough. I really like that song a ton. And In My UA Sweater, I think those were like songs that I fucked with a ton. What about you?
Same. Honestly, those are the ones I would have recommended. I also say the Yakaman 3000, the music video for that one is just fire. We're gonna keep it going, man. Next artist, we got Xaviersobased, straight out of New York City. He's been around for a minute. He started making beats when he was like 9 or 10 years old. I saw an interview say he got inspired by the Lex Luger beat tutorial YouTube videos. And I feel like that video or those series of videos is like
monumental,
influential videos like of our generation. I said it's equivalent to like the Wiz Khalifa rolling up video.
Yeah, in the hot tub.
Yeah, for niggas that smoke, like if you make beats, that's like that. The Wiz Khalifa video is a Lex Luger video for you as a producer. So yeah, shout out Lex Luger, man.
Yeah, big shout out Lex Luger.
So yeah, Xavier's been around since he was like 9, 10 off that, just making beats. So he's really been in with the shits or in the shit since he was like a little kid. He started rapping around 2019. If you go all the way on his SoundCloud, his first song is over Evil Gianni beat. So like he came in the game, you know, with something to prove. Since like that first track, he's really just been making very different shit. Experimenting with tempo, whether that's like doing a whole song, then running it back and playing it at half the speed, or going halfway through a song and just speeding it up like times 10. He'll change the pitch of his voice, and he'll even hit the track with a hard reboot where like everything in the song will just go blank for like half a second and you hear nothing, and then everything comes right back in. So he came in as producer, so the sounds just like sonically sound crazy. And when he is rapping, he has a similar approach as like a Bear One Boss, where he's more so assisting or accompanying the beat and giving it its space to like do what the beat does, so you can really like feel what's going on. And he doesn't like overtake. He's not trying to like bar out every song. He might just have like you might only say like 4 or 5 words the whole song and just repeat it the entire time, just so you can really like feel the shit.
But I feel like he's also like a rapper as well. Like he can rap really, really well.
Yeah, exactly. But you can definitely switch it up and have a song where he does bar out. You might do half the verse in Spanish, like off some Slimecito shit.
Yeah.
Was getting like a very solid buzz throughout the pandemic for real, and just kind of ahead of his time in terms of just making like very different type of music. And then this last year, his 2022 song, Patch Made, went like super viral, especially on TikTok and on YouTube. It's got like over 1 million plays now and on streaming services as well. And I think that really put him on. I feel like he was already on a lot of radars, but it like introduced him to a lot more people, and the people that were already hip were like, okay, this dude's about to be the face of like one of the faces of the next generation of, you know, people coming out of the underground. I would say the resurgence of like jerk music, resurgence of like the dated jerk music that's going on. They're kind of all over just Xaviersobased type beats for real. And the Milwaukee, the class that certified kind of started. I feel like Xavier played a big role, and he got hip to it pretty early through Aoli and Maj G, and started just incorporating in his own stuff, and that also helped kind of speed up the spread of the Milwaukee sound as well. So he's had his hand in a lot of different developments already. He was part of So Evil Boys. I think he might still be, and he launched his own collective 1C, which has people, or One Chance, 1C for short, people like Zig, Guap Kid, Cranes, Fresh Boy Swag, who are also making noise in the underground, are part of that group. And then Xaviersobased also has pretty consistent working relationships with people like Osama Sun, Netspin, as well as like OGs like Slime Cedo. He's got a song with Little B. And pretty much all of Surf Gang has worked with him at this point. So it seems like the whole underground is kind of like fucking with him and looking at him as like one of the new leaders in the scene. He also got a song with Space Ghost Perk, which is like crazy.
Yeah, that's nuts. Yeah. Did that come out this year?
Think so. If you're in the 2023 Space Ghost Perk beat, you're doing something right. 4 songs to check out from him, or How I Feel Part 2, Fix My Mind, Top 1, as well as Skipping Class. For the final person on the list for the rappers section, we got Glock 40 Spaz. He's from Decatur, Georgia, part of the EBG collective, and is currently behind bars right now. I would say he's a pioneer of just like the aggressive, angry rap dudes that have gotten like popular in the last year or so. Drewski recently made like
shout out Drewski. That was hilarious.
Yeah, he made a meme about them.
Nigga come this and we gonna kill him. Boom, 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 boom. Nigga, I'm not gonna play with him.
Kind of started that wave and has been off that type of stuff since like 2018. He was one of the first like bad kid rappers in the post TK era, because I think he was like 15, 16. He was first starting to put out music. And his signature sound is him pretty much just going crazy over normally Al Chapo beats that have like fast-paced drums and heavy 808s. And he really just bars out like a Atlanta splurge. It's really just only bars, like no hooks. Very, very rarely are there hooks or choruses or anything like that. It's just like bars. Over the years, he's kind of evolved a little bit. So he just put out like a plug and B tape, DJ Fat. He's able to not just only make like heavy trap shit. And he can switch it up too. He's been in and out of jail since 2021, which has impacted his rise to fame, just being locked. Like I think he's only done like a handful of shows in like the Atlanta area, has done a tour. He signed to Columbia while he was locked. Between a label and his loyal fan base, like he's been able to maintain and honestly increase the buzz he's had. I would say the most, I've been hearing about Glock 40 for a minute, but I've seen his name the most this past year. I would say pretty much only works with the people in EBG, Baby Solid, Lil EBG, Go On to Belly BL. But he does have songs with Slime Cedo and Rob Banks and Dirtball. Shout out Dirtball. Glock 40 walks so Dirtball can fly.
It is facts.
Yeah. Glock's definitely behind bars right now, and I'm not really too sure when he'll get out, but when he does get out, and when like just middle American white people get hip to bro, like he's really just gonna like,
and it's a wrap.
Triple platinum.
Yeah,
because they love this shit. You will resonate very highly with them. So yeah, man, stay up in jail. I saw an interview. You say he was reading "Behold a Pale Horse." I don't know if you're familiar with that book, but it's like the it's like the Bible of modern day conspiracy theories, for real.
I feel like that's the last thing you want to like have your mind circle around in jail. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, but Prodigy actually read that book when he was locked up, and it was
Oh
a
shit.
very big inspiration for his whole like career. So when he comes out, he's gonna be off his Prodigy shit. You know what I'm
I'm
saying?
with that.
Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff to look forward to from Glock 40 in the
Yep.
future. Couple of songs to check out from him is Bad Man. I think that's his biggest song, came out in 2022. It's kind of hard to, since he's been locked for a minute now, there's kind of hard to tell what was recorded, in what year and like when they dropped it. Not a Believer, it's another one check out that dropped this year. I Got an Army and Remember Me. So yeah, those are all the rappers, man. Shout out all of them.
Yeah, big shout out to rappers, man.
Yeah. Uh Certified, Sexy Red, KP, Vayda, Niontay, Xaviersobased, and Glock 40, man.